What's up, everybody?
My name is Anthony Irvin.
You beat yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah, CB myself.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Jim Green.
Don't even need a hit of traffic light.
Okay, good.
Welcome to
One set.
Have you ever wanted to start your podcast but didn't know where to start? The One Set Bros are here to talk to you about Zencastr. Zencastr is the ultimate-based podcasting solution and now the all-in-one podcasting platform, making podcasting easy. They've sure made it easy for us to be able to record our podcast and our episodes every week for you guys. Once you've set up your account, you're simply one click away from recording a high-quality podcast with studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. My personal favorite feature is their multi-layered backups, which ensure our recordings are always in the highest quality, even during unstable web connections. And if you thought you needed multiple tools and services for your podcast, Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform allows you to create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code OneSetPod, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences we do with all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the One Set Podcast. My name is Anthony Irvin. I'm here with my buddy Jim Green. And before we get into the podcast here, we just want to let you know you're watching the One Set Podcast. And if you're here for the first time, thank you guys for joining us. If you're here in one of the OGs, thank you for coming back. You guys can check us out all at the handle of One Set Pod, and make sure you're subscribing to us right here on YouTube for our weekly uploads Fridays at 9 a.m. And make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and hit us up on Gmail, Patreon. You can go check out our merch. And Jim, tell us where all our listeners and fans can catch us outside of our episodes.
What's up, Anth? Good to see you, broski. Y'all, the One Set Fam Facebook page is garnering a lot of interaction. And to be fair, with WrestleMania season, it has been just about all wrestling stuff. We're coming up on the outswing of that, where we are going to be getting back into a variety of conversations. We're actually ready for it. We're looking forward to it because it has been so WWE saturated that it's like, all right, let's get back to having some variety within the podcast. So we are excited to get back into our like normal swing of everything. One Set Fam on the Facebook. What year is it? It's 2025. The Facebook.
It's been a crazy couple months with wrestling, and we go really hard into the wrestling around the WrestleMania time, but we like to sprinkle wrestling in there throughout the year. But we've come to do this whole Road to WrestleMania series, so it's coming to an end in this episode, but we will be back with a little bit more wrestling. So all our wrestling fans who have come to us, we will definitely be back with more wrestling. But thank you all who have been tuning in with us. But like Jim said, we'll be continuing our Facebook group chat along with more discussions. So make sure you're following us and subscribing and going all through there to hang out with us in and out and around the episodes. But yeah, tonight we wanted to just go over the ups and downs of the WrestleMania weekend. We'll go over a little bit of Raw. Obviously, when this is out, we will be hitting up SmackDown that night, but we won't be able to talk about it too much. But you can probably be able to see most of our reactions to what we felt like. So let's get into the night one of Mania. So it started off with Gunther and Jay. Now, dude, we've been talking about the whole Gunther and Jay thing highly a lot over these last couple weeks and into the last month, because I felt this was one of the most lackluster builds And then there was a lot of builds this year that were like really lackluster, but I felt this was the one they could have really hit it out of the park with Jay. But I felt it was just not sure if they just try to continue to put Jay as like the undercard and or the underdog per se, and just let him try to chase it. But I just felt that they continue to just let him ride the fan wave of him just being over and that being okay to just let him win the championship. I think I think we went undefeated with our predictions actually too. And so I think we knew Jay was going to win, but it was just like, with the how it was built, it was kind of weird if he was going to win. But happy that he won.
I think I had Gunther picked for this one.
Yeah.
Just there were a couple there that I was like, it can't be that predictable, right? So I did have a couple picks on here.
We did have to split the 50-50 and be like, all right, you take that one, I'll take this one.
But, yeah, and this was the one where I was like, I'm just going to take Gunther because I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it on him.
Yeah.
But I think after we recorded the prediction episode and I kept dwelling on it, not like losing sleep over it, but I kept being like, I do really think Jay's going to get the win here.
Yeah, because I think after we did the episode, it was maybe that next day or that Wednesday, they did let us know that, okay, Jay and Gunther's going to open up night one. We're like, well, that's right. Giving it up right there,
Yeah, because you're not going to open Mania and have Gunther beat Jey Uso. Like,
no, not at all. You're going to start off that night with a bang, so you're going to give Jay the win.
That's exactly what happened. Actually, I was like, I could see them just letting Gunther. If it were middle towards the end of the card, I think it would have went that way. But they announced that match was opening. I was like, Gunther's not winning that match.
No.
I will say the turning point in the match was when Jey Uso powerbombed Gunther, and I literally sat up and was like, all right, I'm interested now. I was like, I definitely did not see Jey Uso powerbombing Gunther as part of the match, and the fact that he did, I was like, okay, I can get behind the win. I will say the tap out was fast, right? Like Gunther shouldn't have tapped out.
I at least liked how he used Gunther's submission to win. I thought that was perfect. Instead of just doing the whole frog splash Uso thing and just letting him win that way, I thought it was a good, unique way for him to just really say I'm over like the whole intimidation thing. I'm using your thing against you, and yeah, I definitely love the finish for that one.
Yeah, and then just following up on Raw, Jey Uso comes down. He's not really yeeting in the crowd along the way, which I thought was weird. He obviously pulled little man out, like some young boy. He was out with him, and the little boy was eating. I was like, I don't know if that's because Jay's walking down with the belt and he's not going to one-arm it. Sami Zayn comes out. And it felt weird the whole time. I don't know if that was Triple H telling Sami to look like it could have gone either way.
Definitely, because I was thinking that. I had my volume turned down while I was watching it. But I definitely thought, I'm like, okay, is this where we get the first feud for Jay, like a Sami Zayn and Jey Uso? Because
we talked about that.
That'd have been perfect. But I think, again, they could slow roll it because there was like a time that Jay was up on the turnbuckle and they had it panned perfectly where you can see Sami
just
looking
standing
at him
there. Yep.
And I'm sure 100% of that audience thought that was the turning point. But again, could have been like, just keep them wanting it, pull it back, and we'll get to it at another time. It could wait until Backlash or something.
Yeah.
But I liked how it was just, honoring Jay, let it, let him have his moment, but we'll see who his first opponent's going to be.
Yeah. And if we get the Sami Zayn situation, it could very much be a face versus face for the first match, a la Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens was a face versus face match the first go around. And then Kevin did the whole heel turn, which they did in the parking lot, not when the show was on the air, which I thought was a little weird, but I understand that they have such a level of engagement outside of the shows.
Social media presence, for sure. Yeah.
Goes to commercial, comes back. Gunther is in Michael Cole's face, and I'm like, did I miss something? So Michael Cole gives it to Gunther, saying, well, I'm not the one that tapped out. And I was like, that's it. Michael Cole's dead.
What? Wait a minute.
He starts going after Michael Cole, and I'm like, here comes Pat, man. And sure enough, and then we get the choke out on Pat. We get the whole Pat McAfee show crew hopping the barricade.
And I didn't notice that until actually today, that his whole crew actually helped him too. I didn't really notice it at the time.
Yeah.
I just saw a lot of security people. I thought it was just more random security people and WWE officials and, all those other people. I didn't realize it was Pat's crew from the Pat McAfee show that was actually out there helping. I did see that they were there. I just didn't know that they came out and helped them. So it was cool to kind of have them all, affiliated in that segment too. But
yeah, it was like all of the security had to tend to Pat's guys from the Pat McAfee show. That there was no
Pat's
security
just,
left.
Getting choked out, like
you sleeping? Yeah, he's sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping. And I instantly was like telling you guys, I'm like, dude, Pat McAfee versus Gunther, let's go. I'll totally love that match. Because Pat hasn't had a match in a while. I think since last WrestleMania, or no, 2 WrestleManias ago.
Dude, that was WrestleMania 38.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure if it was 39 or 38. So yeah, we haven't had Pat in a match in a while. So
I think 38 was where it was him and Austin Theory.
And
then him and Vince McMahon.
Yeah. And then he got Stone Cold.
He got stunned.
Yeah.
He got stunned by Steve Austin.
It was perfect.
It's
drinking the beer as he's knocked out.
Pat McAfee has won at life, man. He's just on. I keep seeing that guy doing bigger and better things, and I'm like, this guy is just in the right place at the right time all the freaking time. I was like, good for him,
living his best life.
And it's so funny. I never knew who the guy was until he had his feud with Adam Cole on NXT, and then I was like, this guy was a football player. He can do stuff in the ring. It was crazy. And then and then he was commentating, and I was like, I love Pat McAfee. And then I started watching the Pat McAfee show, and I was like, I love Pat McAfee. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I will say Gunther is losing his mind, right? I guess Jay really got into his head mentally.
Right.
So he's losing his mind. He's going to go on this tear. Somebody's going to step in to put Gunther in his place, and it's going to be Bill Goldberg.
He did have something to say about Bill Goldberg, and Bill Goldberg does want to have a final match. So I think, wasn't Bill Goldberg saying that Gunther and a couple of people were one of his final people he wanted to work with anyway, or something? So
yeah, so Gunther told Bret Hart that his favorite wrestler was actually Goldberg, and
Bill Goldberg. That's right, yeah.
and Goldberg is the one that retired Bret Hart. So
yeah,
I was like,
total troll,
so good. We're getting a Bill Goldberg match in 2025. It's his supposedly last match.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. And in the meantime, Pat McAfee better be training, and then we get that Pat versus Gunther match. Let's go, because we're gonna need some interesting Gunther matches with the title away from Gunther for the meantime. Because I mean, that World Heavyweight title is making its rounds through middle-sized people, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and it's just weird to I just remember one of the things on the list I sent you. It's so weird to think about Gunther's world heavyweight title reign since SummerSlam to now, and I'm like, I mean, Gunther carried the title very well. I just don't feel like he had many marquee, like high level match. And I'm like, it's probably because all the like marquee focus is on the main title, which is with Cody, right?
Yeah, he definitely overshadowed that belt, so it wouldn't really. You couldn't really focus on both of them at the same time, but yeah, definitely Cody's thing overshadowed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't really think with Gunther being the heel most of the time, he was, a heel champion. there wasn't, other than Jay, there wasn't any other good, like, strong baby faces that you can face against Gunther that made it worthwhile to be like, okay, this guy could win. I mean,
yeah,
outside of Jay, you couldn't really think of anybody else who was going to take it off of him.
We kept getting the CM Punk tease that he might go after Gunther. Like,
right.
I feel like with Jey Uso having the belt or Sami Zayn having the belt, you can get CM Punk challenging for the world heavyweight title. And then, like, we're going to talk about John Cena when we get to the John Cena match.
Yes.
He has won number 17. But if you have Cena holding that belt through December and it's barely getting defended, or it's getting defended, but you know that he's going to hold on to that belt quite a bit. Some people think he's not. I don't know. I think he's going to keep it for most of the time.
I think he will.
Yeah.
Maybe not till December, but I mean, I would like to think he keeps it throughout the summer.
Yeah, at least until SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, he loses that title, and then what keeps it interesting after that? He's going to challenge for the title a couple more times and just lose all those times? Like,
right. So that would be kind of weird. So it's more you want him to carry it until December, have somebody dethrone him, and then that just gets carried on. He goes, and like it has to be the passing of the torch for that match, obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
so whether that is like a ultimate rematch with Cody or Roman somehow getting it, but we're getting obviously Randy and Cena at Backlash, which we can talk more at the time. But yeah, where that goes is,
I just think
a lot of different options.
I think with Cena just holding on to that belt, I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk gets the world heavyweight title on Raw at some point, and then he's one of the top baby faces in the company. Make that world heavyweight title elevated. Obviously, Jey Uso has it right now. I don't want to see him lose it very soon, but I don't know if he even holds it to SummerSlam, to be honest with you. I could see
I'll be surprised, but I would say at the most he will lose it at SummerSlam.
I think so too.
I don't think he'll be a 1-year champion.
No.
Not at all. I would like to think hopefully he can have a good stint until SummerSlam.
I think
it really just depends on how he cannot continue to just rely on the people to carry his weight.
No, we need some of those really great promos he was doing during his IC title run. Like when he was in with Braun Breaker, like we had some stellar Jey Uso promos. If he doesn't get on those quickly with the world heavyweight title, just cool. You had your Mania moment. Get it on someone else. Put it on Sami Zayn. I want Sami Zayn with that belt at some point. As long as Sami Zayn is interesting, and maybe him as a heel again would be great. Who knows? Let's get out of this one just because we talked about that 1 out of 14 matches for quite a bit, but there was a lot to uncover with that, right? Like, because we talked about Jey Uso versus Gunther a lot in the build up to Mania. Overall, I'm not going out of my way to run back to watch the match again because, like I said, the turning point in the match was the Jey Uso powerbomb. I would watch from that until the end and be great with it. New Day versus the War Raiders. so many people were like, this match didn't need to be on WrestleMania. They could have done it on the Raw after Mania. I was like, there's got to be a reason for it. No, there doesn't. There was no Big E. I'm still over here holding out on Big E at some point. I think that we get this heel New Day for quite some time. And once we're over it, I'm still holding out on Big E coming back. Sorry, y'all.
Right. I mean, give Jim what he wants.
Yeah, literally. I mean, we got Daniel Bryan and Edge. There's no reason why we can't get Big E back. I mean, that guy was barely tapping into his main event scene Big E status when the injury happened. Like, so unfortunate. I am not running back to watch this match. All you need to know is the match was very okay.
Like we said, I mean, it's not ultimately going to hurt the War Raiders. They could eventually just get another rematch. But yeah, I can see the New Day holding the belts for a little while with their heel run. We'll get some decent, the
thing is that
out of it.
They have to make tag teams on Raw that are interesting because there aren't any. All of the great tag teams are over on SmackDown. I can't wait to see what this TLC match looks like on SmackDown. Like,
it better be awesome because it better be a WrestleMania caliber type match because they definitely needed to put that on Mania. So it better be freaking amazing.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if it opens the show or if it can't close the show. I feel like, well, also SmackDown is 3 hours, so it should get a good 40 minutes of.
I would say
of those 3 hours.
It has to go a good while.
Yeah. Jade Cargill and Naomi. Hey, look, I thought that they exceeded my expectations. I had said a couple weeks ago. They said a couple weeks ago. I said a couple weeks ago. Hello, 3, 2, 1, action. I said they better be practicing. Because they both have timing issues with people in the ring. Even if it's only one here or one there, if they want this match to deliver, it has to be sharp. It has to be polished. It's got to be. And I thought it was great. The electric chair turnaround powerbomb. I was nervous that Naomi was going to fall off of Jade's shoulders. It delivered. Again, I'm not going out of my way running back, turning it on again. But I think that they understood the assignment. I'm glad Naomi is getting some shine at the place that she's at in her career.
I really liked her entrance.
Yeah.
The whole get up with her. I think the whole caution gimmick and letting go of the glow stuff. Mm-hmm. I think she's really embracing the heel character she's in, and I think she's doing it well.
Yeah.
And, piggybacking off of what you said, I think for what it was a good match, which we thought it was just going to be a filler type thing. But I think the moment of, like you said, with Naomi jumping onto Jade and catching her into that suplex type of position was one of the spots that, okay, if that was one of the things they practiced, that came off really well. And, where that goes from here, will Bianca, get back in line with those two and kind of continue the little mashup? We'll have to find out on SmackDown. But I liked the match for what it was. But like you said, it's not going to be something I'll be like, oh, you got to go back and watch this one. But they delivered. I was at least glad that they, put on a good show for what they did.
Yeah, I'll tell you what match I will go back and watch because I went back and watched it earlier today. It is Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. Jacob Fatu gets the United States title. We knew this was happening.
He deserves it. I think we both would agree, even our prediction, that Jacob Fatu over the last couple of months has just been stellar. And I hope, unlike Jay, I hope he keeps this past SummerSlam. I would see him keeping it past SummerSlam more than Jay.
If he doesn't, it's Solo's costing him, right? Like that's the only way.
I think that'll be the ultimate end goal of when they put that into play. That'll be the little roadblock that he'll have to go through. He'll have to definitely go through Solo at some point, because that'll be something that's definitely in his future, a Solo and Jacob Fatu fight.
So
And
Tama Tonga got injured.
was just going to mention that too.
Yeah.
That he's injured, and that's going to even more break up the fact that we could be seeing a Solo and Jacob Fatu thing probably sooner than what we think, since the injury with Tonga, you know?
And like I said, there's apparently other Bloodline guys at the Performance Center just waiting to be brought in with Tama Tonga out. Those guys could be coming in as soon as Friday.
Yeah, you never know.
We'll see. LA Knight's best match of his WWE career, maybe of his entire career. I can't really speak to that because I haven't seen his work pre-WWE days.
Right.
I thought that they just had such great chemistry. I would love to see the match again. Let them run it back again. El Grande Americano defeats Rey Fenix. Rey Mysterio gets injured on SmackDown. Fortunately, we had in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, Chad Gable gets eliminated, and then coincidentally, El Grande Americano comes in and eliminates Rey Fenix from the Battle Royal.
Right.
So that set up the 6-man tag with Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix, and Dragon Lee. I think it was against American Made.
American Made.
That's right. Rey Mysterio gets hurt in the match, and literally their match is the next night at WrestleMania. So it's like,
yeah, he was literally getting like helped to the back.
I think they could have thrown Dragon Lee in here if Americano was going to catch that win. I messaged you right before the match and was like, by the way, Rey Mysterio out of the match means Americano is winning this match. And then we find out that WWE has acquired AAA, like the Lucha Libre promotion from Mexico. And I was like, that might be one of the best things of the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So then that Worlds Collide event is happening June 7th, the same day as Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
In LA. Dude, I am excited for that day of wrestling next.
Yeah, two pay-per-views. So, I mean, how do we not get, if Rey Mysterio is good by that point, which, I think he only suffered a groin injury. So, he should be good by that point. But how we don't get El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio in that main event, I mean, is beyond me.
It writes itself, dude. It has to happen, right?
So it'll have to be that mask versus mask match that just end the whole thing, and we finally figure out it's Chad Gable. Spoiler.
Yep. Spoiler.
But yeah. So that is my money is on that match being the main event.
I would think so, 100%. Vikingo was there, and I was losing my mind because I have seen that guy on Instagram before, and I'm like, I don't know who this is, but he's ridiculous. And the fact that he was there and I got in the ring to help Rey Fenix after. By the way, I haven't even talked about, I enjoyed the match. People are like, oh, it was terrible. It was not great. I think that El Grande Americano's metal plate under the mask is one of the most brilliant heel move things ever.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing with it, and I think that I hope that Chad Gable is having fun doing it, because I feel like he's always right on the brink of excelling to or elevating to upper mid card, because his in-ring work is incredible.
It is, yeah.
His reverse 450 senton, I literally jumped out of my seat a little bit. I was like, that was awesome. By the way, that backflip to the senton was like,
I think he's like one of those wrestlers that like knows his position and he's good at delivering wherever he is on that card. Like, if he gets elevated to like, topper tier, he'll be fine with that. But if he just stays in the mid card, he's just gonna, be out there delivering like he was a main eventer. So I don't think you're ever gonna be seeing Chad Gable like underlying himself to be like, well, I know I'm here, but I should be here. It's like, well, I need to prove myself that I need to be up there. So, you know, I think he's just one of those people that just knows his role and he does it well, and he doesn't have to necessarily prove that he needs to be up there. He should be up there, but
I think
he's one of the topper tier mid carders.
I think he's just going with the flow and kind of just like, I'll do whatever you want me to do, and
that too,
kind of like Shinsuke Nakamura. He's probably just like, whatever you want me to do, man. I think
he's being a good soldier.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're going to talk about that when we get to the AJ Styles Logan Paul match on Sunday. Next up, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. This was my least favorite match of WrestleMania. I gotta say,
I agree.
I watched this match, and I gotta say, it was not necessarily worse than the New Day versus the War Raiders. It was the potential that the match had to be a WrestleMania classic that I would want to go back and watch again.
Here's the thing.
A
lot of people are saying this, and I think, I think since a lot of people are saying that Flair was to blame, I've never seen her as like a petty person, but I can definitely see the fact that she has an ego problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of wrestlers have that too, but I think she is so egotistical to think that, she's this top tier wrestler and nobody else can be higher than her. But then when she sees this up and coming star, that Tiff was giving her, giving Flair her flowers, even the fact that they were at each other's throats, she was still saying, yeah, this is like a dream match for me. So I'm humbled the fact that she's giving me this opportunity. But Flair was always in that thing like, there's nobody above me. Even if you try to get on my level, you're never on my level. And I think she was just intimidated by the fact that there's somebody trying to take her spot. I think Becky had something to say about that too. The fact that they were really close, but I think Flair started being different towards her as she started becoming into that man character, and Charlotte and Becky started getting into like even playing fields.
Yeah, I just remembered this is. I'm breaking the fourth wall here, which in podcast world, like that's not even a real thing. I guess. I guess what I'm saying is this is going to be a dual shot the entire time, right? Like there is no editing for the episode, because I'm sitting here trying not to interrupt you, because I know for the audience sake, we want them to be able to hear your side, hear my side, and we don't want there to be a lot of overlap. I am trying not to like freak out about, I'm like, okay, either Charlotte Flair can't go anymore. Like she's got so much ring rust that like whatever she did,
especially from that injury.
Yeah. Whatever. The thing is like the character that she's playing. I gotta believe that she believes in all of that hype in her own head, that she is such a problem backstage that I think Triple H was just like, you're going to be a problem. We're going to let Tiffany go over in this match. Like, and I feel like she threw the match because she didn't want Tiffany to benefit off of having an excellent WrestleMania match. I said that she might, and people were like, oh no, she's got too much pride in her own self to throw a match and have a bad match. I was like, if they went off script and did all that stuff, I thought that there was a chance that she might, but I didn't want to believe it would happen. The match was not good, and I feel like it is all her fault, and it makes me mega pissed. Okay, like
go off. You have the playing field. Go off. I had one on the last episode, so here you go.
I just, that was supposed to be Tiffany Stratton's moment, and Charlotte Flair is a piece of fucking shit for not letting her have it. Okay, I know that there's no like, you're not censoring, and we're enough into the episode that if someone catches this and I get heat from it, I will have to deal with the consequences. I think she's the person that I hate the most when I watch WWE programming. I can't stand her on my TV screen. She has Baron Corbin go away heat from me, where I'm like,
wow,
get her out of here. I don't want to see her. And when I say Baron Corbin heat, Baron Corbin was not in the main title picture, minus he had a Universal title match with Seth Rollins, which, by the way, we're having a funeral for the Universal Championship because it is now officially retired on WWE.com. So we're not going to do it in this episode because there's way too much.
So much more
to uncover. I think maybe at or around SummerSlam, we'll go back and look at the Universal title history.
Yeah.
And have an official funeral for the Universal title and say, hey, yeah, they introduced this title back in 2016. It had a nice little 9-10 year run. Maybe we're going to weigh in on that when we look at the list of Universal champions. Now, granted, that title is the title that Roman Reigns won first, and he carried it for the 1,300 days or whatever it was.
Right.
Getting way off track here. Circling back. Baron Corbin, go away heat. Charlotte Flair, get off my fucking screen, okay? End rant. Tiffany Stratton, I think, is fantastic.
She is the new up and coming star. I think the moment in that match that really made me think that Flair is not giving it her all is when she just went total dead horse after that one into the corner of the ring. She just went total dead weight, and I'm
limp
like,
noodle.
all right,
she
could be selling it, but it's more like, okay, you're just literally not letting her do anything.
She's not even fucking trying. I was like,
so I'm like, okay, she's just like,
she's throwing the match.
Like, if you want to win, you're just gonna have to just deal with what I'm gonna do with you now. So I am glad that Tiff won, and we were saying that in the prediction that it's hard to bet against Charlotte.
This was the one where this is one of them where I took Charlotte to win the match because I didn't see her making her return, winning the Royal Rumble, and losing to Tiffany Stratton. I didn't believe it.
It's happened so many times at this point that it's okay, let's just, if we're not going in the right direction, let's just save it and put the thing back on Charlotte. But they just flipped the script this time, and maybe they thought, in the beginning, let's put it on Charlotte and just let Tiff see how Tiff does. But maybe after a lot of the promos and after that big off script one, they thought maybe Tiff deserves this. Let's see how this, and I think they picked the better thing. I think it's time. Charlotte has done, a lot of things over her career, but again, there has to be a time where every wrestler has to give it up, and they may not be ready. But I think that was Tiffany's time to shine out, and I'm just upset it wasn't a better match than what the weekly promos and storylines made it seem to be. It should have been a way more brutal fight. But Tiff got to beat Charlotte Flair on her debut of WrestleMania. Who else can say that?
We are 6 out of 7 matches into the first night of WrestleMania, and we had Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight for the United States title as the one match that I was thrilled about. Jey Uso versus Gunther, I was glad with the match finish with the power bomb and Jey Uso getting the win, despite I had Gunther picked to win. Jada Naomi was better than I expected, but again, I don't need to see it again.
Right.
So up until this point, I felt like night 1 of WrestleMania was a stinker, and then we got this triple threat freaking banger of a match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. We had Seth picked to win this match. We had Paul Heyman walking out of there with him, as much as it was like, yeah, they might not do it. I'm
but
glad
the way that it was done was
just perfectly
cinema.
executed. Literally
Cinema.
chef's kiss. And like I said, I have a lot of feelings about this WrestleMania. This match made me love all three of these guys. Like, I enjoy. I have a lot of respect for Seth Rollins because I think he is the workhorse guy in the last decade.
Yeah.
CM Punk, I just gotta say, after his return and hearing great things about him for the culture of WWE, I'm just glad it didn't go the other way.
Yeah.
I am enjoying Roman Reigns now more than I ever have. And
After last year's Mania, like I was all up, doing the one. I was a Roman Reigns fan after that because I was not the Bloodline fan. I was more Cody. Hey, get this storyline out of the way. But that just made me respect Roman even more Otis last year, and for what he's going through over the last few years of his title reign. And even the last year of him not being a champion and just going through it and trying to keep himself relevant outside of the title, he's been able to do it. And he was still main eventing Mania without the belt. So got to give props when it's needed. And it seems like Roman's probably going to get another little bit of time away because of what happened on Raw, because we obviously got Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman coming out. You had CM Punk coming in to, start beating up Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins took him out. Roman comes out, and then we get Braun Breaker spearing Roman Reigns, and that's where I was like, big swerve, didn't see that coming, but I'm like, perfect, because Braun Breaker needs to be in the title picture or even in the main event picture, and I think him aligning with those two guys, Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, will be able to excel him to where he needs to go.
Yeah. And we haven't even talked about, because the Fatal 4-Way was on Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously, Braun Breaker is not the Intercontinental Champion at this point.
Right.
So he drops the IC title, and he's now aligned with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. This guy is the future.
Yes.
And we've been saying as soon as soon as I messaged it to you, and I was so mad, I was like, I could have saved that for the podcast. And I know I've said it. I was like, we're gonna see Braun Breaker versus Jacob Fatu for the World Heavyweight title.
Give it to me
at WrestleMania. I cannot wait until it is WrestleMania. I mean, I can, because I'm probably going to be 40 years old when that happens. But and realistically, more like 41. I think it's a few years away.
Yeah.
But these top guys now are not getting any younger. They're all in their mid 40s. Like they're not going to be wrestling for a long time. I think Roman's got one more year on his deal, and he said he's got maybe 2 years after that, and then he's got to slow down because he's got to do something that's a little bit less demanding on it physically.
Exactly.
So we are in the final years of Roman Reigns, which I think Triple H knows. Hey, Cody's not a spring chicken. Seth is going to hang it up in the next few years too.
Yep.
CM Punk too. Like,
yeah, all four of them guys. They're definitely on borrowed time.
It's literally, okay, we need to make new up and coming young talent stars. Like, we got to build new stars, and more on that when we kind of reflect after Sunday night. But this triple threat match, I will go back and watch it. I think I watched the finish again over where it just got like the last 10 minutes of the match was just insane, right?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that Heyman, in that moment where he had the chair and he was looking at Roman, looking at CM Punk, I mean, I wouldn't change it to doing this because I think the way they did it was perfect in the match. But I thought he was going to take the chair and throw it between them.
I did too.
And that's where Seth gets it. That's where I thought the whole little thing was, that he was just going to play it like he was throwing it to one of them, and he throws it too far and it gets to Seth. And you see that Paul Heyman smirk. Yeah. That's where you get the whole
I feel like they thought about that and they were like, yeah, but how can we make this better? And then they said,
I thought the way they did it was so much more, because you got Paul Heyman to have his moment with Punk, and then him thinking he was going back to Roman. You gave him his little moment with Roman, turns on him, and then you get Seth, who's just basically having his back turned almost the whole time, just knowing what's about to happen. And then that's when Heyman, reveals, okay, I'm with Seth. So I think the way they did it was great. The only thing I would have, if it were me booking it, I would have definitely had them throwing it down the middle and having Seth and Heyman be revealed in that way. But I think the way that they did it in the match was great.
Yeah. Let's move on to Sunday. Night two. So night one, we got, it was pretty great. We got Jey Uso winning to nobody cares about the New Day and the War Raiders. Like they didn't make that match feel important for WrestleMania. It never needed to be at WrestleMania. Jade and Naomi was better than expected. Right. Jacob Fatu, LA, excellent. Like was the best match until the main event. Grande Americana versus Rey Phoenix, I thought was better than expected, but I wouldn't be like, oh, it was awesome, I want to go back and watch it again. I just want to see that reverse 450. Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair, straight in the shitter. Okay. And then the main event was all the way up here. I feel like night two was the complete opposite of that. You started with this triple threat with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley, and it was probably I think all around probably the best match of the weekend. The IC, the Intercontinental 4-way match is close.
Okay. I thought that was a killer match.
The triple threat, Seth, CM, and Roman Reigns, those guys are all top guys in the company. It's really hard to compete against that.
They should be having a great match anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a given.
So Io, Bianca, and Rhea for the build being because they had such a long time to do this back and forth shenanigans that they did. The match was so freaking good to open up night two that I was like, okay, this night is going to be straight fire. Really glad that they kept it on Io. I think you had Io picked, and I was like, I think initially I said Bianca because of her undefeated WrestleMania streak.
Yeah, we are going off of that, I think.
And I was like, I don't think Rhea Ripley's winning this match. I think I did wind up saying, yeah, okay, I'm going to go with Io. I might be wrong.
I think we both went with Io.
I think we both went with Io for that one. You had Damian Priest winning this next match. I had Drew McIntyre winning. This Sin City street fight. Did you have anything that you wanted to say? I'm sorry. I'm going through the card because I know it's late. You got to get up early for work. So
I thought the triple threat women's title match, sold itself in a way. I think each of them shined in their moments.
Yep.
I wouldn't go back I would maybe only go back to see certain spots. I thought there was a lot of good Io spots and a couple good Rhea spots. But yeah, am happy that Eos retained, because I think she's good, and she proved a lot of people that she deserves to be champion. And it's hard because she is an international superstar, so the language barrier with her is a little difficult, so it's hard when you're trying to cut promos with her that she's not going to be fully able to commit to saying a lot of things in English. But I think this is the first time they're actually committing to somebody who is not an American type champion, because I heard them saying that it was the first Japanese winner for the title at Mania or something. I'll have to check the facts on that.
I mean, I would believe it, only because Shinsuke Nakamura should have won at WrestleMania 34. They kept the belt on AJ Styles. We're gonna get to him shortly. But
yeah. Anyway, I thought the match was I liked it. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I think we both were like meh on this one, but again, a couple good spots here and there, but I think it was just a good enough match for what it was. I mean, according to the Wikipedia, it ran for 13 minutes and 55 seconds, which, to me even sounds like more than what it needed to be. But
I think the match was, I had low expectations for the match, so it wound up being better than I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
I thought some of the spots were really cool. I think Damian going up for the top rope. I forget what they call it. Basically like how the Undertaker used to walk the rope and then jump off.
Yeah.
I like knew as soon as he was stepping up for that, I was like, he's going through those preset tables on the outside.
Yeah.
What I really liked was the setup for the Claymore into the chair in the corner.
Yeah,
I thought that spot was really neat. I was like, I don't know why they haven't done that spot before, unless they have, and I just don't remember it. Like Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton ambulance match, they might have done that spot.
Maybe.
But again, that was pandemic Thunderdome era WWE. I was like watching, but not nearly as invested, I guess. Just because it was pandemic and not the real thing with fans in the crowd. The Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way, I said 4 or 5 weeks ago when I was like, this is the rumored match. If Dom Mysterio is in this match, I think he's winning at WrestleMania. And I did not imagine the crowd to go absolutely bonkers for Dominic Mysterio winning this title. I think that was the biggest surprise of the weekend.
Post-show, there was so many people like loving it. Yeah. And even to him, I think he was just more crazed that, like, he's been getting booed most of his career at this point. Mm-hmm. And now he's getting praised for it. So he's just, eating that all up, which is cool. And
good for him. I mean, he as an individual deserves it as much as I'm like, he's the most hated person in WWE. And I was glad that he was that person.
And you can tell he's been kind of getting a little bit more of a push over the last couple months. And I still think, even though it didn't happen, I was expecting, them to turn on Finn. I still think that's happening. Just like you're hoping for a Big E return, I'm hoping for the turn with Finn, and we get Demon Balor sooner than later. But I think they're just figuring out when to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, or
we did get a returning JD McDugget too.
Yep, JD McDugget.
Yes. Or
McDonough. Yeah.
Donna. Yeah. McDugget.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so we got his return, which again, out of nowhere, didn't expect that.
No.
So that'll be interesting how he plays into Finn getting kicked out as well.
Yeah. Well,
Did we see him on Raw?
JD returned on Raw.
That's right. Yeah, I thought it was at Mania for some odd reason. So yeah, he did return at Raw. Okay. So yeah, it'll be interesting how he'll react to the turn when Finn gets kicked out. So
yeah. Or they'll book it so that like JD notices the dissension and then just sides with Finn so that Finn's not going off alone like Damien did. And now Damien's kind of lost in space and it's awkward, right?
right.
Not that I think Finn will be lost in space by himself because he's handled himself on his own before.
Yeah, striding like a goober.
Yeah. Striding. Just walk straight.
Just walk straight. Walk straight and Charlotte get the hell out.
Yeah. Braun Breaker looked like an absolute beast in that match, dude. Penta, we know and love. I think Penta's going to wind up getting a big push. We have to remember he did just show up like 2 months ago, so I can't be like, oh my god, why didn't they put Penta over? Oh my god, why did Penta lose to Dominic Mysterio on the Raw after Mania? Like they booked it correctly. Penta's going to.
That's why I'm not worried about it. I mean, he's still a new guy. I mean, you can't really say he was in there as a filler. Probably could, but I think they're just trying to see where he's at right now, and they can obviously tell the crowd's loving him, so it's a matter of when they're going to pull the trigger to really excel him. Because even my brother was like, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't Penta win? And I think it's just too early.
Yeah.
Give him some time, and I think he will definitely, hopefully in this next year, we'll be seeing some gold on Penta.
Yeah, I think so. Randy Orton comes out and we're all waiting. I had a subtle inkling that we might get this TNA debut, but I was like, I don't know.
I did not think of it.
Apparently, Randy Orton pitched it to Triple H and said, I like his work as far as cross promoting goes.
Right.
He's your guy. And we didn't have 24 hours like Ray Phoenix and Chad Gable had, spoiler.
Yeah.
But Randy and Kevin Owens were set to have a stellar blow-off WrestleMania match for the feud that's been ongoing since the pile driver back in December.
Absolutely.
So for them to finesse this, and like Triple H said in the press, the post-show press conference, he was like, we had to do something just way different. It worked for me. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is the best thing of the weekend. But for Randy Orton to get the win that he needed, we get Joe Hendry at WrestleMania. We get Joe Hendry showing up on NXT last night.
Cool.
Yeah. So we had Trick Williams and Obafemi in the ring again. Obafemi is still your NXT champion. I don't know who's going to take it off that guy. I honestly think that
I don't know. That dude's a beast as well.
I think he pulls in.
I got to see the triple threat match on Stand and Deliver with him and Trick Williams and the other guy, and they really showed out in that match too.
I have not seen Stand and Deliver yet, but I intend to go back and catch that match. And you said the Fatal 4-Way Women's NXT Championship match was, I gotta.
I've been praising the women down there, not just for the obvious clickbaits, but the women there are really showing out.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so definitely some good stuff there. Logan Paul and AJ Styles. We talked about some stuff off air, or we mentioned it earlier. On the fact that AJ has been having some trouble with, wins and losses when it comes to Mania.
And it's not even just wins and losses at WrestleMania.
And good caliber matches too.
That's what it is. I mean, Matt said, has AJ won at WrestleMania? I was like, he had a match with Shane McMahon. He won. I believe that was Mania 33. Yeah, because Shane McMahon wrestled The Undertaker at 32 in the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Mania 33 was AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. I think they opened that Mania, and AJ got the win there. And then WrestleMania 34, AJ beats Shinsuke Nakamura. But that match, of all of AJ's matches, AJ should have lost that match. And
that was one of the matches that a lot of people were looking forward to, and it just undersold.
Yeah, and a lot of it had to do with Shinsuke Nakamura should have won that championship. And then, I mean, for AJ Styles being one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, for his best WrestleMania match to be the Boneyard match with The Undertaker, come on.
Right.
What are we missing here? I do think him and Randy Orton had a match at WrestleMania. I think that was like 3 or 4 years ago, though. And I don't remember any of AJ Styles' WrestleMania matches being excellent. Like where I'm like, oh, I would put that on right now. I had high expectations for this match, and just it felt really flat to me. I don't know if the crowd was just dead.
I mean, from what I saw, I mean, I'm always going to praise Logan Paul. I think from what I saw with Logan, I thought he did a great job. AJ, again, just hit his strides and hit what he needed to. I don't think I saw the whole thing. I think I was transitioning from my parents' house to our house. So I was kind of watching on the car phone and then just getting kids to bed and everything. So I didn't get to see the whole thing. But from what I saw, I thought it was a typical, ace for Logan Paul to just continue to show his ability, and AJ Styles, again, just kind of being the phenomenal one, nothing, like his typical, self. I wouldn't say it was like an oh my God match and like, probably like a career, opportunity to be like, oh, this is one of the best matches of his career. But yeah, I think it's just another check off for Logan Paul.
I think so too. And I'm almost positive that I picked AJ Styles to win the match only because I was like, he's at the end of his career. Like, throw him a bone, let him get a win. Logan Paul is going to be fine. I'm going to come back and talk about Logan Paul winning this match after we get through the rest of the card. So Bayley gets taken out on SmackDown. Lyra Valkyria has a mystery partner going into WrestleMania Sunday to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag team championships. I mean, I think you and I in the One Set Fam thread with Steve, shout out to Steve.
Yeah.
Always engaging with us in the One Set Fam thread. We love you, Steve. Thank you so much.
Yes.
We both said that there's no way that's not Becky Lynch. And the match was about to happen. Cheyenne's like, she looks at me. She's like, who's it going to be? I was like, it's Becky Lynch. She's
Becky.
like, are you serious? Like Cheyenne doesn't have the appreciation for Becky Lynch like you and I have, because we saw Becky become the man and we're like,
yeah,
she's the most over person in the company. So like we watched her become great. So we have a different investment in her.
And I liked how Becky kind of went back to her old form, like her WrestleMania gear that she won the 2 belts in.
Yeah, 35, the one we were at.
That's right. Yeah, it was just so long, we just didn't remember. But yeah, she was in that like
same
traditional
gear.
Man gear.
It was good
in
man
going
gear.
Back in man gear. Yeah. So it was cool to see her in that, type of space and getting back. And then Raw, we see her turn on Valkyria. Yeah. Didn't expect them to lose it that quickly, but I guess they wanted to get this thing shaken off. So, does Bayley come back in and help Valkyria because she got knocked out? Does Bayley, try to go after the IC belt to really do, because now it's like, okay, she missed the WrestleMania moment because of this, and she's at this point where she's always being this type of character, be like, okay, what do you want me to do next? Okay, I'll do that. What do you want me to do? Okay, I'll do this next. Where again, this is kind of going into
Chad Gable. We were talking about Chad Gable. Yeah,
talking about Chad Gable, but then I was also bringing up the promo for Killer Cross. And that's what we wanted to talk about with the AJ Styles and Logan Paul match. So we'll revert back to and talk about this Killer Cross promo real quick. You know, I think I'll quote you on what you said with the chat. This is the Killer Cross that we've been waiting for. And we've both been very big fans of Karrion Kross over the years when he was in NXT, and when he got when he got brought up to the main roster, he fell flat really quick. And I just don't think they knew where to set him. Then they let him go. They brought him back. And I think he's at that point again where they just don't know what to do with him. And I think it's to the point where he cut that promo, and somebody needs to recognize that this guy needs to be on TV more. Because he's like almost like a one of a kind thing. And I think he's going somewhere with what he wants to do. It's just a matter of they have something for him to really get his things like turning. Because I like how he's doing the thing to try to persuade people to not follow the mold, but trying to, you know, really realize, because I think they were saying that with the whole heel turn with the New Day and Karrion Kross being some type of like advocate for it, like, yeah, you just need to cut the dead weight and you guys will be in gold. And so they cut out Big E. Now they're champions. So it's like, now they're giving proof that Karrion's, you know, ways could benefit other wrestlers. And now with him talking to AJ Styles, you know, talking to multiple wrestlers about what he would rather them do. So I think he's getting into something, and I think that promo hopefully, you know, excels him into this next level.
I would certainly hope so. And
hopefully it just doesn't get ignored.
Well, we've been saying it's now or never with Karrion Kross, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, my fingers are crossed for the guy. I mean, when Vince pulled him up to the main roster and threw that stupid fucking helmet on him,
that was so stupid.
So stupid. He gets released. Triple H is he's now in charge of creative, and Karrion Kross is back like the next SmackDown, taking out Drew McIntyre. And I was like,
yeah, because
Drew McIntyre was going after Roman Reigns, and then someone blindsides Drew McIntyre and his Karrion Kross, and I was like, let's go. Since then, crickets, right? I mean, we had Final Testament. That was short-lived.
Yeah.
Which, to my surprise, to both of our surprise, I would think, Academy of Pain, big old nothing. Big old sack of nothing, right?
Yeah. Now, whether it's they just weren't utilized the right way, or they just were, you know, had high expectations and it just never got kicked off. Don't know whether either one, but I feel bad for them because I think they could have had potential, but
they had a monster run in NXT. Yeah, that was the thing.
So that's why it's kind of hard, like, I guess, to know that sometimes transitioning from what you do in NXT doesn't always transition to how you're going to be in the main roster. Right.
Well, you have more diehard fans watching NXT that value like all of the little nuances. Your main roster audience is a lot more casual fans. So it's like, if you aren't like super appealing in some way, shape, or form, we just kind of don't care about you. Right.
Exactly.
So pulling for Karrion here, pulling for Killer Kross. Like you said, he was the one that kind of got in between Xavier and Kofi and kind of started all of that. And then there they are walking backstage to the ring for their match. against Alpha Academy before Rusev made his return, which I thought fell super freaking flat.
That's one that I saw. I just didn't have the volume on
Yep.
once again.
Yep.
But I was stoked to see Rusev back. But it was kind of weird that they put him in a segment that was just like not really meant for him in a way.
It just meant nothing. I was like,
yeah.
oh, look, there's Rusev. Okay, don't care.
So you're putting him in the space to just be like, hey, just go out there and just annihilate everybody. But it was just a weird way to re-debut him.
Yeah.
But we'll see how he does in the next couple weeks when he comes out again. I mean, if he's just going to start coming out and just, killing random people, then it's going to make sense.
Yeah.
But if after what happened Monday just owns nothing, then it was like, okay, it's just pointless. Pointless
booking. Like, you're just welcome back to WWE. We're going to give you garbage again.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I hope he gets legitimate investment in him so that we can see him to some potential. If he doesn't go anywhere, he doesn't go anywhere. At least it's not booking's fault.
Right. Main event time.
John Cena defeats Cody Rhodes and is undoubtedly the greatest of all time based on number of title wins. People are clamoring, oh, you got a 17th win like that. And it's like, okay, but think about how Ric Flair won his 16 titles. You think he won 15 of them clean and one of them was a not clean finish?
Exactly.
No, more than half of them were heel wins. So
happy for Cena. Love the entrance. Just the plain black and just the basic font for John Cena. Just nothing. Black screen, lights all down. John Cena. That's it.
It's just a giant FU to everybody. Just like, I'm here. I'm gonna do the thing. And even his shoulder tackles to swinging spine buster to the 5-knuckle shuffle. He
taking his time throughout that whole thing.
I was like, oh, man's gotta breathe.
And even towards the post-show interview with him talking to the media, them asking him questions, and then him just saying, I think that's pretty much clickbait, and I think that's just lazy writing.
Yep.
First time, I'm like, all right, little chuckle.
And then
after like the second or third time, I'm like, okay, this is great.
This is I'm literally cracking up. I'm laughing harder every time he's saying it. I'm like, this is literally what he's doing in the presser. Because I thought he was going to walk out like he did after the Chamber and just drop the mic and walk away.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And that was just, I was like, this is freaking awesome.
We didn't get The Rock.
And that
let's
really,
talk about this for a minute.
That really took the wind out of my sails. They had the opportunity to wrap up night 2 in the way that they wrapped up night 1, where it just was an instant classic.
Mm-hmm.
Rock goes on Pat McAfee show on the Tuesday after WrestleMania and says that Ari Emanuel, the head of TKO, called him and asked him to come in for Elimination Chamber because the ticket sales were down.
Yep.
So they pull off one of the biggest moments in WWE history at the Elimination Chamber, and this was the payoff that they gave us, right?
Right.
I'm not complaining about Travis Scott being involved, because if you had him there at the Chamber, he had to be a part of the story, at WrestleMania.
Right.
I don't even care that we got the match finish we got at WrestleMania 40. And people are like, oh, well, they went that big for that. We're not getting that at every WrestleMania, everyone. It's
No.
not going to happen.
And I think we knew going into it, after what we had last year, how you're going to outdo that. I mean, it's very hard to, continue to, match Manias.
Yeah.
I personally didn't like the Travis Scott thing. It would have been better, obviously, having Rock in that position. But,
Well,
you had to have, if you're, like you said, if you were going to have him in the Elimination Chamber, there was no point of him not trying to be there for the main event. But I think it would have been better to have both him and Rock be there to make it more understandable. So with him saying like, oh, well, they called me in, they needed ticket sales. I pitched the final boss, with the whole soul of Cody. And, he pretty much put it to bed at that point and said, I don't want the spotlight on me. I want it on John and Cody. And it seems like from what I was reading on the other end that they might be looking more forward to this soul, I want your soul thing again, and bringing it back on Cody. So we might even see The Rock reposition himself to ask Cody to reconsider. And maybe this is something with his loss to Cena that might be his heel turn, and then eventually bring him Cena back to being a baby face. You get heel Cody and maybe eventually take it off. But again, we're getting a little bit further down the line. But as far as the match, I mean, it was tough because I think 90% of the people knew Cody was losing, so he didn't seem to have the power and like energy like he did last year. So it was almost like, again, he probably knew he was losing, but it's almost like you can just tell through his mannerisms, like, yeah, he's most likely losing this match.
He's out there doing the job.
Yeah.
And everything that he worked for, losing at Mania 39, finally finishing the story at WrestleMania 40, and his best feud was with Kevin Owens, and his best match was the Rumble match, the ladder match at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I was ready for Cody to not be the champion anymore. I had higher expectations for the match all around. I understand John Cena is not young like he was 10, 20 years ago. So like, I understand that perspective. I'm not like, oh, the match sucked.
No, I mean,
I
thought it was good, but it was hard because you're always looking at Cody's match from last year and trying to compare it.
Yeah.
Where two different scenarios, but it's almost like 365 days later, and you can just tell Cody didn't have the same passion this year. One, because he obviously knew he was losing, but it's good that Cena won. He finally got his 17. I think people were happy about that. But it's like, where do you go from here? We were talking about this again. Do we see Cena holding it up until December, and then, whoever's going to be taking it off is the passing of the torch? Do we see him losing it halfway through the year? But it would be kind of weird for him to, try to chase it again, then to just lose it by December. So he's on borrowed time. So it's a matter of what you do. Do you just let him roll with the heel tune all the way through, and then somebody picks it off of him at the end to be like a passing of the torch, which I'm probably more for on that end? Or does he only hold it for a certain amount of time?
I kind of think if he was going to win number 17 and he's gone after December, honestly, I kind of want him to just vacate it, or
Yeah.
or actually take it home with him and then make a new championship belt like he's talking about. Like,
Right.
okay, do that. Because I think that gold thing is fugly, okay? Albeit I did get your son one for Christmas, like toy one. It looks good as a kid's toy belt. I don't like the actual thing that we're watching on TV every week. Okay. I think Travis Scott should have just walked out before John Cena made his entrance, and then Travis Scott is just at ringside the entire time, and then we don't have that awkward 5-minute Travis Scott walking down the ring, and then, you know, if he had a couple other shenanigan moments during the match,
right.
I think it would have settled with people a little bit better than him just walking out, getting hit with the crossroads, and then he pulls the ref out, and then Cena does a low blow title belt shot, gets rid of the belt, and the ref just stumbles back in and hits the 3 count. I was like, okay, so this WrestleMania is not one for the books all around. I mean, great moments, a couple of great matches. I feel like what's happening is I'm calling it a transitional WrestleMania because it literally concluded the Bloodline era with Paul Heyman no longer with Roman Reigns officially. Yeah. The whole Bloodline storyline is now in our past behind us, which has been 5 years of this is the top story in the company. Mm-hmm. And now the top story is going to Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. And who else is going to be in that faction, Anth? Becky Lynch?
A lot of people have been speculating that. I did see somebody saying like an Austin Theory.
I would love it. Some people saying Carmelo Hayes. I would love that too.
Carmelo Hayes. There was somebody else that I was saying too. There was somebody else that I thought, I'm like, oh, that would be really good. I can't think of it right now. I
have a few people in mind. I mean,
maybe one of those is who I was thinking about. It was somebody else who is up and coming, not a main guy, but somebody who will benefit.
Yeah, because some people were like, "Oh, Sami Zayn will go in here." I'm like, it doesn't work for him because you need it to be someone that's going to get the rub from Seth, because they're clearly trying. I mean, Triple H. By the way, if you haven't seen Triple H's Hall of Fame induction, you gotta check it out. He talks about he talks about Evolution quite a bit, so it makes sense that now we're getting this Seth faction where Triple H talked about he got to groom Randy Orton and Batista, and that was his first taste of giving back. And then he got to do that with NXT with an entire promotion. And now most of the WrestleMania cards are coming out of NXT. I'm calling this a transitional WrestleMania because I feel like you got Tiffany Stratton over Charlotte Flair, right?
Yeah.
You got Logan Paul over AJ Styles, right? The only thing is you got John Cena over Cody Rhodes, but he won his 17th title. Totally fine. Right. Jacob Fatu over LA Knight.
Youngins taking over.
Yeah, Jade Cargill over Naomi. Like, I feel like this is definitely a Dominic Mysterio, new Intercontinental Champion. I mean, future. Jacob Fatu, future. Braun Breaker, future. We got Stephanie Vaquer, the NXT Women's Champion, come out and confront Io Sky on Raw. We had 13 minutes of a match before Roxanne Perez and Julia come in and interrupt it. Which leans into, okay, you got this new wave of talent coming in. Some people are getting released. So some people are about to lose their jobs.
Who's your number one prospect for probably leaving?
I mean, I could have told you Karrion Kross before that promo, but now I'm like, he better stick around.
Hopefully.
I mean, hate to say it, but like Akira Tozawa, I really don't want to say Otis, but I feel like you get rid of Alpha Academy and it just opens up for time for other new people.
I think one of them, if not both of them, are probably on the chopping block.
I think so.
I'm surprised Akira Tozawa hasn't
already been. Yeah.
But I think it's just more they're just keeping him around. But, I'm just surprised they haven't at this point. But they obviously just see something in him with the comedic part.
Right.
But, yeah, I would like to think Otis and him are definitely on the chopping block.
I think there's a couple of the women on SmackDown that I'm like, yeah, just really don't care about you. I mean, if you're going to give me an hour, the second hour of SmackDown is all women. Make it people that I care about seeing on TV rather than I'm like, I don't care about at least half of you. Because then it just makes the second hour of a 3-hour SmackDown not really much to watch. Right? Mm-hmm. I just want to say, I think Vince McMahon had this really big F you, I'm going to do whatever I want personality. And the company continued to grow and grow and grow. I think Triple H is very much a man of the people and the people in his company. He is in direct one-to-one talent relations with booking everybody and trying to solve problems in trying to find the happy medium and trying to keep everybody happy as best as he can. It's not realistic. The Rock doesn't have to answer to anybody except Ari Emanuel is his direct higher up. I mean, he's Triple H's boss. Triple H can say, hey, Rock, do you think you can come in for this? And the Rock's like, nah, I'm busy. The Rock will make time to show up if he thinks that there's value in it or if it's convenient to his schedule. He couldn't show up for WrestleMania. He said he was sitting at home watching with his children and that he didn't want to take away from Cena's moment. I think we're going to be bitter about it for a little bit. I'm not really that bitter about it. I just feel like if they had swapped the main events of Saturday and Sunday and we got that Seth and CM Punk and Roman Reigns finish for night 2, and we got John Cena and Cody Rhodes finished the way that we did on the Saturday night, I feel like WrestleMania as a whole would have felt way better.
Right.
That Cody and John Cena match to close out WrestleMania that had so many missed opportunities. For me, number one, namely, is the Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair match. One more time, fuck you, Charlotte Flair. I really hope
leave that part out now.
I really hope I'm not going to get fired for saying all that. It makes me hopeful that WrestleMania 42 next year will deliver and will be way, way better. I'm hoping that Triple H will find out, okay, this worked, this didn't work, this didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. Apparently, Dusty Rhodes told him, if what you see in your head, if it works out 70% that way, you've made it. Mm-hmm. So I do think if that's the case, there are 30% misses happening. Triple H is just, I mean, we've praised him up and down. We have, how many Monday Night Raws have we watched in the last year that we were like, if this is going to be Monday Night Raw all the time, we're in for a ride. Mm-hmm. I will say, I literally thought a year ago, okay, do I want to save up to go to Vegas for WrestleMania to see Roman Reigns versus The Rock in person? We didn't even get that. I feel like if I invested money in a trip to see WrestleMania and that's what I got, I would be mega pissed.
Yeah.
I would be infuriated. I'm already feeling a little let down for portions of the show watching it at home this weekend. I think that there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up. I think Money in the Bank's great. Worlds Collide
There's a lot
is great.
of potential for the next couple pay-per-views, especially with Cena being on every pay-per-view. So you know you're going to get a title defense with Cena.
I think
most of the next couple. And, you know,
if anything, SummerSlam is going to be it literally has high demand to be excellent.
It's the first double night, so there's going to be a lot of matches just like Mania. So we're gonna have a lot to cover.
And Cardi B's hosting, everybody.
How did I forget? Yeah.
With that said, we've got SmackDown tonight once this airs.
Yeah.
Once this goes live, we've got a TLC match to look forward to. We have rumored Aleister Black re-debut and
cannot wait. I hope that happens.
And the return of the Wyatt Six. Damn, could you imagine them in the same segment? Could you imagine Aleister Black in with the Wyatt Six?
That'd be crazy.
I mean, Aleister Black is fine on his own. Right?
Yeah, alone, it's great. It'll be interesting what they do.
What will be really interesting is if we have this conversation about the ups and downs of the state of WWE right now, and then SmackDown is just this, like, we're saying we're going to put the wrestling talk to rest starting next week. I think we're probably going to mention SmackDown. But the episode next week as a whole will have a theme that's not wrestling. Yeah. Let's just put it that way.
We'll sprinkle a little bit of wrestling into it, but we'll be transitioning out of wrestling a little bit. But like you said, we'll be having some wrestling talk here and there, and you know, probably once the summer gets in here, closer to SummerSlam, we'll start bringing it back up a little bit.
Yep.
And we like to bring it out in phases, but then we love doing this road to WrestleMania. This is like our official second year. We started making it like a thing.
Yep.
So we were gonna do a live stream of this, but of this episode, but I had some family things that I had to attend to this past week. Thankfully, everybody is doing better. So next year, we'll have some ideas, and this with the live stream, it brings up more ideas and how we can make next year's road to WrestleMania that much better. Maybe we'll do a couple live streams here and there and make a big WrestleMania weekend where we do a couple post shows after each night or something. We'll see how it goes around that time. But on other non-wrestling things for the future of the podcast, I'm going to be hopefully at this time starting next week, I'll be looking to start shift at my new job, and that will mean that some of the half of my week I won't be working. I'll only be working Wednesday to Saturday or Thursday to Saturday. So that'll leave the first half of my week open. So that will mean that we might be able to get some in-person episodes for you guys very soon, which we are very stoked about, because me and Jim haven't had an in-person episode since last year's live pod at Philly WrestleMania Night 2. So it has been a minute since me and Jim have done a podcast in person. So we will definitely be getting you guys some in-person episodes in the next couple weeks to couple months in here. It won't be every week like we were mentioning, but it'll definitely be more frequent than what it was. So we're looking forward to that. And for future, we talk wrestling for anybody who's watching for the first time. We love talking wrestling. We like talking life, sports, and everything. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, write us something in the comments, or what you guys can do is head over to the Facebook group, write us a post, something you saw, like, oh, I would love you guys to talk about this certain thing, that's even if it's pop culture or something. We'd love to kind of be talking about the things you guys want to hear. And just we talk life and anything, so we're happy to talk about this, that, and everything. This has been the One Set Podcast. If we haven't touched upon anything, I think we could probably end it here, right, dude?
I think we're good on this one. We're a solid hour and a half in. Thank you all for being patient with all of our wrestling talk. Like we said, I'm going to put it to rest on the whole episode, every episode for weeks on end kind of thing, until, SummerSlam rolls around. It'll be kind of important, and that'll only be for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. Nothing super crazy.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been a good little WrestleMania series this year. Yeah. So until next year with it. Yeah.
It's 2 a.m. Let's get to bed, man. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Hit us up on the One Set Fam group on Facebook, and see you tomorrow. All the love to you.
All right. See you.